Hey Fitheads, today we have Niki Brazier, the on-field reporter for the CrossFit Games, which is super cool. And also CrossFit has some big news. They just sold. So there's a new CEO and she is the perfect person to give us all of the insights about that.
Yeah, we talked about the culture of CrossFit moving forward, getting away from racism and sexism.
Indeed.
God forbid. But it's really exciting, and it's
Yeah.
like a new culture. And she's in touch. Not only did we talk about the new CEO, she has personally emailed with him, humble brag,
Yeah.
and we talked about what CrossFit's going to be like moving forward. Really exciting.
Speaking of in touch, she has touched Matt Frazier on the field after working out. It's fantastic. It was so cool hearing. Oh yeah, and we talk about their drinking habits too. Okay, stay tuned. It's really good.
Welcome to Total Fitheads. Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Hey Fitheads, welcome. We have Niki Brazier today, a killer CrossFitter, coach, on-field reporter at the CrossFit Games. I'm so stoked to talk to you. Hi, welcome.
Podcaster extraordinaire.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm just faking it at that point. I'm just trying to keep up with you guys. Totally. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I should mention that we spoke to John Woolley. His episode just came out, and so you're going right after him. So people are already familiar with Make Pods Great Again.
Yeah, that's been really fun lately. And John is like way wittier and faster and funnier than me. So listen
But
to his
like,
episode
what's
first.
his strand time compared to yours?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know because he like brags about being able to do like the ladies RX weights pretty efficiently, So
better than
I feel like
me.
him and I are actually a decent matchup.
I love it. Okay, I do want to get into like you and your history and stuff, but
Sure.
First we should talk about the latest news and this selling of CrossFit. Yeah.
Crazy.
Basically, I just want to know what's going on and then for you to tell me how to feel about it.
Ooh, okay. All right. So it's been just a crazy couple weeks, like in our little CrossFit microcosm, right? So like it has totally felt like my house was on fire with like all my stuff inside of it. And I was just like, no, what's happening? Stop. And the thing is that we are in a period of change and change for the better. So like it has to be weird and gross and uncomfortable and crappy. Can I swear on this podcast? I don't know.
Sure,
Yes.
go for it.
Okay.
We're gonna bleep it though.
Great. That's perfect. Good to know. So yeah, it has to be like this. Like we absolutely have needed change, but it definitely has been a difficult process. So it just, it started with this really like racially insensitive tweet that was also insensitive in terms of all the things we've got going on with COVID-19 from former CEO Greg Glassman. He was CEO at the time. And that sort of started this I don't know, like roller coaster of all these eyeballs on CrossFit for doing the wrong things and saying the wrong things. And, there was issues already in the community that were sort of starting to come to light about a lack of diversity. And that's not a recent issue. It's just an issue that we as a community have more recently been talking about and exposing the flaws. And so some really prominent CrossFit athletes were already starting to sort of step out of the woodwork and say things that were really important for us to consider as a community. And then on top of
my first introduction to that was like a meme from John.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, and started looking more into that and realizing.
Yeah. And it was really good. It was really good to start those conversations. And they've been within the CrossFit community, just as they have been throughout the rest of our country, uncomfortable and important and sometimes hopeful and sometimes really depressing and just kind of like all of these things. So already it felt like, oh my gosh, what is happening to CrossFit? We're talking about things in a really good way because we need to change, but also like Greg Glassman at the helm, it's kind of being a shit show. And then a lot of prominent athletes and gyms ended up leaving and de-affiliating or disaffiliating, however you want to say it.
Right. We had someone on, an affiliate owner that de-affiliated like immediately.
Right. And that was, partially because of that, like I said, really insensitive tweet. And then also there was a lot of conversation about how CrossFit HQ didn't come out and say anything specifically in terms of supporting the Black Lives Matter movement when all these other brands were. So brands left, gyms left, athletes refused to compete in CrossFit Games and other sanctioned events. Even sanctioned events were sort of dropping their affiliation. So all that happened. And then most recently, we found out that Greg Glassman had sold the company to new guy, Eric. And that is sort
she
of the
smiled.
latest. Yeah, I'm like so excited about it. That's sort of the latest piece of information that has dropped, and we don't know a ton yet. I mean, we know a lot about Eric's history and his background, and it sounds like he's going to be a really good fit in terms of CEO in that position. But we don't know yet exactly how that's going to shake out in terms of all the folks that have left they were basically calling for Greg to leave. Like, we ain't going to do this shit anymore if this guy is still at the helm. Well, now he's not at the helm. So how exactly is that going to play out? We have seen that the new CEO and CrossFit HQ in general will be opening back with open arms. We'll be welcoming back people if they want to come back in terms of affiliates and brands and games athletes as well. But yeah, I think that we need more information still on how the decision making is going to look at the very top of CrossFit HQ. Is it going to be, sole decision making power from Greg Glassman over to Eric, or is he going to establish a board? Does he own 100% share? Are there like stakeholders involved? We just don't know anything yet. But first and foremost, it does sound like good news that CrossFit HQ is moving in the right direction by removing Greg. You know what? I didn't even touch upon, there have been a whole bunch of sexual misconduct allegations against him as well. And that sort of just added to the fire. So none of that, as far as I know, none of that has come out in terms of like actual charges or court proceedings or anything that we can really talk about. But there was a New York Times article that detailed a whole bunch of supposed allegations. So
well, geez, that's news to me. Wow.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's been wild.
That's crazy. So then you seem pretty positive outlook on this new guy. Yeah.
I'm like a forever eternal optimist. It's kind of a problem. But no, I'm really excited. He sounds like a good fit. He sounds like he's got a ton of experience in that position as a CEO of major companies in the past, tech companies.
Which is the opposite of Greg Glassman.
Exactly. And he's also been a CrossFitter for a decade. He's owned an affiliate for almost as long. And he sounds like one of us. He sounds like...
Yeah, owning the box to me, owning the... Yeah. Like running a gym, doing the stuff, that sounded to me like a big part of it. And I think that's probably what they were looking for.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a passion there. And I know a ton of people, myself included, like I've been coaching for almost a decade. Oh my God, why don't I have abs? But I don't need to. Like, I have a career, I have, jobs outside of the gym. I do it because I love it. So it sounds like he's kind of in the same boat, and that makes me feel pretty good about his position coming in.
Well, Max, when you're saying like, yeah, he's kind of what they were looking for, we still don't really know, or maybe you know more than me, like what was going on. Was like CrossFit put up for sale on some black market that I wasn't told about because I'd have bought it? Or like, or did they find him, or did he reach out to them? Like, how did this go down?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm actually dying to know, because we heard a ton of rumors that there were other people who like put bids in or offers in. It's like, it's worth 50 million. It's worth 150 million. It's worth $5,000. Like, nobody knows the details of this, how they found each other, how it all went down. Like, even Margot Alvarez, who is like a prominent CrossFitter, and she owns a winery, and she owns, she's been coached forever and a rogue athlete. She even like sent out an email being like, I offered to buy it, and that didn't work out. So I have no idea how it all went down. I'm dying to know though.
How surprised were you that a big apparel company didn't buy them? Why didn't Reebok just buy them?
Yeah, I know that was also on the list. And I wonder, I mean, the Reebok deal with CrossFit, the like partnership brand sponsorship deal, was coming to a close next year anyway. Yeah. So I was curious to know how that was going to shake out regardless of like all of the changes. I was already like, okay, so after this CrossFit Games, Reebok is out, and they've already said that they're not going to bring on another big like apparel sponsor. So how is this going to work? Who's going to put up the money for the podium? Like, I don't understand. Right. So many questions. I am made of questions. Well, yeah, exactly.
If someone like Reebok had bought it, it would feel so different. Like right now we have a picture of a dude who's like super fit and talking to us saying that he cares about CrossFit, which is very different than like a faceless company like Reebok.
I like the idea of CrossFit as an organization having brands as partners, because it just like CrossFit stands for so much more than the shorts and the shoes.
Right.
There are so many different silos of the organization, you know, everything from the affiliates to the health initiatives to lobbying against, you know, big soda and sugar and all those, you know, other things that happen on the other side of the competitive sport. So it wouldn't really make sense, and probably brands wouldn't want to get involved in all those like litigious matters. But it's more than that. So it would be weird. I think it would be better with someone or a board of people at the helm, you know, maybe even that board representing different silos that I talked about, maybe someone from the health department, maybe someone, you know, to be a representative for the affiliates, maybe even someone from like the medical staff or the media staff or all of our little offshoots and freelance people who are like marginally involved, but probably would have a decent voice to bring to some decision making down the line.
Yeah. They need to put you on the board. Absolutely.
I know, right? I'm available if anyone needs to call me.
Love it. Yeah, well, you did mention that like he still could be kind of just a figurehead and Greg Glassman pulling the strings. I didn't even consider that because I was like, well, he owns it now, so he's in charge. But I mean, there is that potential.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think that Greg is going to be in the background pulling the strings. I think that this is the hard part. No one has said definitively that Greg sold 100% shares to Eric. It's been implied. So in my mind, Greg is completely gone. I just haven't seen, I can't like report false, I haven't seen like an official document that says like Greg Glassman owns 0%. It would be weird to me if he still owned like 1% or 49% or however it is, like non-majority, but I think he's out if I had to guess, but I am waiting for, well, because like the whole point of divesting and selling the company was because like the masses were kind of calling for it, right? Like, Greg, we want Greg out. We're not in unless Greg is out. So it would kind of be a crock of shit if Eric owned like 51% and Greg still owned 49.
Because those CEO billionaires are so trustworthy historically.
Well, and that's why I wonder too, like, did Eric buy on his own? Are there stakeholders? Are there other investors? I don't know. That we just need to like wait for the ink to dry. It's like literally just happened, but it's been implied in all the information that we
speak about this. Or are they never going to speak about this? The ink dries and then we ignore it and go on and had 49% of the affiliate fees still line Greg Glassman's pockets.
I think even if we don't know the details of the money or the investors, I bet we'll know the shares. You know what I mean? Because I think that's public.
It's public, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it has definitely been implied that like Greg's out. So that's what I'm going with. The eternal optimist in me is going with that.
Well, I keep wanting to play devil's advocate.
I know, that's fine. Yeah. Do it, because
like, well, no, because I am also an optimist, and God, he was so charming on that Zoom. My God, and he talked about his mom getting into CrossFit and doing 100-pound deadlift. That's the cutest thing. But why isn't he a Black woman?
That's a great question. Yeah, because it is like it's one old white guy going to another old white guy.
I ask myself that every morning.
I know.
Get it together, in the mirror.
Seriously.
The mirror.
No, I don't. The people have been saying that, and people criticize him. His first letter that he sort of like published, and as "Here I am," and "Dear affiliates, this is I'm the new guy," and whatever. He said in that letter that like, just so you know, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but like racism and sexism are abhorrent and will not be allowed at CrossFit HQ. And people were also giving him shit at that point for like not writing the words Black Lives Matter. So I just think like you can't please everyone. If he was the right guy for the job, then I hope that he imparts diversity within CrossFit HQ itself so that he's representative of the things that everyone was calling for, even if he's not personally representative of them. But you can't please everyone. And the guy's been in this position for like, I don't know, 5 minutes. So like, let's just give him a chance to see if he does all the right things. I'm not going to say that because he's not a Black woman that he's not going to be the right guy for the job. But yeah, I mean, that also, I had it in my mind too. Like that also would have been nice to see a real change up in that respect. So, but still, like, you got to give him a chance. You can't.
Yeah.
If you start playing the why isn't this game, then we could do that all day too,
Sure.
Why isn't he a barbell?
Why isn't he a turtle? I'm just wondering.
Turtle fit. I'd sign up.
Yeah, totally. 100%. We just like eat fruit and move slow. It sounds like my life, actually.
And just stay in your home that is your body. All right.
Yeah. You were so quarantined. You're like, nobody can get in that shell.
Turtles have been social isolating before it was cool. All right. Anyway, he just, like I said, on the Zoom, he just seemed so charming. It was almost too good, you know? Like, one, I don't trust a guy who's not on Instagram. What are you hiding? It's like he just started his Instagram for this.
Yep.
But why are you not taking photos of your food and showing me? Who?
Well, I personally think that is a new account.
Oh, so
I think that there might be like an old Eric account somewhere living on the
Coach
gram.
Eric, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But did John tell you that he like went back and dug into his tweets?
Like, oh yeah, I heard
like,
this on your podcast.
Yeah, like back to like 2013 or something. John's trying to find like
find an N-word.
skeleton. Oh my God. I was like, when are you going to do a meme something that he posted in 2011? And John was like, shit, yeah. But he couldn't find anything. He couldn't find anything funny or weird or like, yeah. So I also have this air of like, is he too good to be true? I don't know. But like, I'm not going to say that until I give him a shot. Oh, he emailed me back.
No
Damn
way.
it, that was my next question. Oh.
Yeah, because in that first letter to affiliates, he posted his email address, which was brave. How many emails do you think that guy got?
1500.
Easily.
God, that was my next devil's advocate thing, being like, oh, look, he published his email. You loved it. Did he email you back? And
he sure as
did. What did he say?
Well, so I emailed him asking him to come on the podcast.
He's like,
John
hey, girl.
hey girl, hey, you want to come chat with us? John emailed him and said like, just like, hey, welcome, congratulations or whatever. And John got like a, hey, thanks, smiley face, which I'm assuming is how he responded to most people.
Copy paste.
I mean, I would too if I had 1,500 emails, 24 hours to answer. But no, he like wrote out an email to me and it was like, hey, like, you know, thanks so much for the welcome. I'm obviously really busy with the transition, but basically like reach out to me next month and maybe we can set something up. So
that's great.
Now I'm saying it out loud on other podcasts, so he has to follow up.
He heard it.
Boom, bingo.
I have a feeling he's busier than. I have a feeling he's not going to listen to me on podcasts telling people that he emailed me that.
Yeah, right. Oh no, he's anxiously awaiting Total Fit Heads coming out on Wednesday.
Can't wait, you guys. It's his time.
Well, that's really exciting to me, honestly.
Yeah,
I was ready to be like, screw this guy. I was mad about the publishing of the email because it's just, that feels like disingenuous. Like, oh yeah, you can totally reach me, but he did. So that's cool.
Yeah. I'm into it.
And I also think that like he definitely needs to go on your show. Like it would that's the first place he needs to be talking to people. So hopefully that happens.
Hopefully. I keep my fingers and toes crossed.
So what do you think about, like, do you have a sense globally if like the people that de-affiliated are gonna come back?
It's a good question. I do think a lot of them will. I think a lot of gyms were reacting and standing behind their own convictions, and I think that was really important. We absolutely needed them to do that in order to force this change. But I think a lot of them are relieved to hopefully have a parent company that is now offering to be much more of a resource than it originally was. Like, I don't think they're going to come back because they're like, oof, Greg's out. All right, I'm back in the game. That's it. That's all I needed. Like, in addition to changing over the leadership, HQ is also now saying, hey, we're going to do what we need to do in order to make you guys as affiliates feel supported. And I think that they've been waiting for that. So now, you know, given the opportunity to have that, I bet a lot of them will come back. I think some gyms that had been maybe larger ones, like NC Fit is a really good example. Like, they have already clearly been thinking about doing their own thing and starting their own thing. And this was definitely like the straw that broke the camel's back for them to not want to be affiliated with HQ anymore. So the fact that they have this idea already and now feels like a really good time to implement it, like, I don't see them coming back. But there are other large gyms, like Invictus is a really good example of a chain of gyms that I think they operate pretty independently of one another, just under this like Invictus umbrella. And I would be really curious to see what they do, because I think, like any other company, they would love support from HQ. they would love additional resources and people to reach out to and whatever, but I don't know if all of their gyms need to come back or if some of them can move on and other ones can stay. I don't know how all those businesses are run.
Yeah. Well, would you have de-affiliated if you were running a gym, like between the time of the tweet and then the sale?
Yeah, it really depends. Like if I had a gym that was really well established, that had, a ton of members that knew who we were and what we did, if I wasn't always on the hunt for new members, then I think I absolutely would have considered it. I would have been like, this is just not, clearly it's wrong and I don't want to be a part of it. But the gym that I do coach at is very new. We're only a year and a half old, and we weren't sure that we could fly our own flag yet. So the owner decided to sort of just wait it out. I mean, he went on record and emailed the members and was very communicative about, I do not believe in this. I do not stand for this. And I don't want to be a part of anything associated with that man. However, my $3,000 affiliation fee is not keeping him rich. And the way that people find my gym is by Googling the words CrossFit plus our town. And then they walk in the door. So he was like afraid. He was like, I'm not at a point where I'm even paying myself yet. You know what I mean? And I'm afraid that I'm not going to grow my community to the point where I can fly my own flag if I leave right now, because I need people walking in my door to say, hey, I want you to help me change my life. And the word CrossFit as part of that is what he relies on. So, he was basically saying, like, when you pay your membership, you're not paying Greg Glassman. Like, you're putting food on my table. You're helping me start a family. And I totally understand both sides of that argument. So, I didn't feel one way or another about it. I was just like, yeah, dude, you do you, and we'll see where the chips fall, and we'll make the right decision, whether it's now or in 2 weeks,
It's so interesting that the value of CrossFit comes down to that one Google search, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Just to let people know immediately what you are.
Well, and we've had so many people come and start at our gym since quarantine was lifted. So on June 1st here in Rhode Island, we were able to go back to phase 2, I think. So since this whole month, basically, we've had 5 people in the gym at a time and 3 people at the outdoor stations at a time. And tons of new members came out of quarantine being like, I want to start a gym. I want to get fit. I want to lose the quarantine 15. It's time. And those people who, I don't know if they have a friend who does CrossFit or they've seen the CrossFit Games on TV and are inspired, or they're just really, they saw it in Men's Health. I don't know where they saw it, but they don't care who Greg Glassman is and have never heard that name before. So they were basically just like, oh, look, that chick has abs. I bet I want to look like that in CrossFit in Rhode Island, and found us. Right. So for him, it was really hard to say, I can't be a part of this anymore when his main goal in life is helping people change their lives. Mm-hmm. And that's how they've been finding us. Because how are people going to know that I'm not Planet Fitness?
Right.
Earlier, if you were designing the world, and God willing, one day you will.
I know, right? Oh my God, no way. You'd have to have chocolate with every meal.
What would you
rack on every corner.
hope HQ gave to each individual gym?
This is probably a better question for an actual affiliate owner, because I'm sure there's a ton of stuff behind the scenes that they have trouble with and questions about. For example, when we were in the height of all things COVID, and there were all the small business loans, like the Paycheck Protection Act and the SBA loans and stuff, I know my owner had a very hard time understanding what he qualified for and how, because he doesn't really have employees. He's one guy, and he's got investors, and how does it work? So I feel on the ground level, just having someone to call with really difficult business questions to be like, hey man, how do I do this? Or your CrossFit comes sort of hand in hand with a program that does all the insurance and stuff like that. I'm sure there are tons of questions that come around when you're just a business owner. And just having someone like a regional rep or someone in HQ who can help answer those questions, I feel like will probably be very helpful. We didn't know what the hell to do. And, like I'm on the side with all the other part-time coaches, just Googling shit, like trying to help. Like, I don't know, I read this, maybe you should apply for that. Like, none of us knew what was going on, but maybe having someone who was really educated from HQ side to be able to help, that probably will be ideal moving forward.
So you're thinking more of like the business support and not necessarily like fitness training kind of things, nutrition, whatever. I don't know. I have my L1. You are a coach. Do you feel like there could be continued schooling? I only say this because I don't feel.
Hello. Oh,
Sorry.
Oh, I lost you. Sorry. Say that again.
Oh no, it's fine. Here, let me make an. Oh, we're good. Okay. Yeah, I guess you froze for a sec. So, I don't feel like I would be qualified to open an affiliate after my weekend of getting my level 1, but I am. I don't like. How do you feel about adding additional training or on the fitness side of it?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, like revamping the structure of the certifications, I feel like is like a whole nother. I don't know if that is really in the same vein of thinking for me in terms of like, this new guy's going to come in and help, like, support affiliates, like imparting additional, I don't know, like certifications, or I don't know. I feel like it's okay the way that it is for now. I'm sure that there are issues with it, and like, yes, you might want to be more qualified, or no, you might not. But like, part of the beauty of owning a CrossFit gym and opening a CrossFit gym is the low barrier to entry. So like, I think coaches everywhere could benefit from having more certifications and more everything. But like, if you just wanted to own the gym and went and got your L1, so you knew the basis of what was going on, but you had a gym full of L3 coaches and you weren't coaching, then like it would be fine. So it's like, I feel like it's more complicated than that. But I am glad that, I mean, the cool thing about CrossFit gyms is that HQ does not impose upon each individual owner exactly how to program, exactly how to train. Like, we use this methodology, but we use it in so many different ways. So I am glad to still see that. I don't think the support, like quote unquote support from HQ, is going to come in direction. Like, you have to program Fran once a month and everyone has to wear a red t-shirt. Like, I don't think it's like that. I think it's going to be more like logistical and even like emotional support for a business owner. I mean, that's tough. Like, it's tough to do that job day in and day out and build a business and be in fitness and healthcare. And you're also kind of like I don't know, you're sort of a glorified therapist. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, even just having a rep to like bounce ideas off of or talk to about all that kind of stuff, especially now with all the questions about diversity. I mean, maybe that's a really good way to start building a diversity plan, is to have someone within HQ to bounce your ideas off of. Would be cool.
Oh, word. Put her on the board, dang it.
I know, right? I'm available.
Making your case.
Yeah.
So what do you see about the future of the CrossFit Games?
I really hope that new guy Eric is great. And I hope that Games athletes decide
He's
to come back.
He's got to change his Instagram right now.
To new guy Eric.
Get that name right now.
I hope so. And I hope that the Games athletes are satisfied with that change and that they decide that they're back in. They had all those posts that said, I'm out. And I want them to all say, I'm in, assuming that Eric is great. And that, Games just got pushed back again, but we're looking at mid-September. So as a fan of the sport, let alone a potential sideline reporter, like, I got my fingers and toes crossed that we're going to do something this year, because I just want to watch it. I just want to watch my favorite athletes like pick up heavy shit and then put it back down again.
Compete.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know about the September thing. It's interesting now to think about how he's kind of on a deadline to show that he's going to be doing a good job to get them in time to taper for their workout.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, the season is all jacked up. Like, it's only the very top athletes that qualified out of the open, and there are people that qualified at these sanctioned events that ended up getting the boot because like that doesn't really count anymore based on the new qualifier, and nobody knew. So it's kind of a weird season with an asterisk anyway, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to watch some culmination of at least the beginning of the season that we got to do because of the way that COVID hit. And I just want to see it.
Yeah,
I'm there.
and
But
like
you're right.
a million more Netflix docs. I want that too.
Yeah, exactly. 150 Netflix documentaries, please.
CrossFit. Tell Eric to start his own Netflix of CrossFit, and I just want to subscribe to watching documentaries about very fit people.
Exactly. I think that we should do one on New Guy Eric, and it should be called New Guy Eric, fittest CEO on earth.
His Fran time is 2:40.
Gross.
Right?
It's gross. That's not fair.
He was over 50 when he got it. Dang
it's a fit dude.
Ugh. So that everything's all messed up. Well, what did you think about when they got rid of regionals?
Oh man, that was it was sort of the beginning of all of the changes that came down the pipeline. And I think at first, like everyone, I was like, oh, I hate change. But opening up the sanctional season did a lot of really cool things. I think that I missed the aspect of one single test. It was cool in a sense that it was homogenized in a way that we're really testing all the athletes on the exact same things, the exact same modalities, exact same timeframes, weights, like all that stuff. So it was a very true test in that respect. On the other end, opening things up to sanctionals provided way more opportunities for the athletes, which is always great. More opportunities to test their fitness, to make money, which they're sorely lacking, unfortunately, to build their brands, to get sponsors, like all that shit. It opened up way more opportunities, even for us on the media side of things. I mean, with the big release of all things media from HQ a couple of years ago, it was really sad and shitty for a while. And, we're all on our own now. We're all sort of like lobbying for these jobs by ourselves. And just, I randomly like email sanctionals and I'm like, hey, I'm Niki. Like, want to maybe like hire me? I don't know.
It's a great email voice.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because some of them are like, sure, like, we know you from games. Come on over. And some of them are like, who are you? So it's a lot more work for us, but still at the very same time, a lot more opportunity because it used to be 3 weekends a year and then games. And now it's like all year round. I get to travel over the world and, meet new people and come face to face with athletes that I would never otherwise have a chance to do. One of the events that got canceled when everything sort of went to shit earlier this year that I really wanted to go to was Elfit in Egypt. Ooh. That was going to be like when was I ever going to go again and have that cultural experience and meet those people and get like an actual tour of Egypt from people who like live there? That was going to be great. And we would not have had that back in the regionals days. So, it's pluses and minuses on both sides, like everything, but I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah, it does sound super cool. Just in general, be like being on the floor during the games and interviewing athletes like right after they finish. Are they not like just like screwy? I can't imagine finishing a workout and then like coherently answering your questions.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough. I think that they've gotten way better over the years. Like when we first started the broadcast in general years ago, we were basically dealing with like really fit people who got good at functional fitness in their garages. Like they were not like professional athletes.
They're great socially.
Well, they just they didn't understand. They didn't have sponsors. They didn't understand that they had like a responsibility to their fans to like, talk about how they're doing and explain how they train for this and what they had for breakfast. Like they didn't get it because they were new. We were all new at this and trying to like really morph it into more of a professional sport. So in the beginning, it was real hard where they like, everyone's afraid of a camera when the blinking red light is on. People just like lock up and I totally get that. So partner that with like, I just did Fran and I can't breathe. Who the hell are you? I've never seen you before, Niki. And like, I don't talk. I just lift weights in the garage. What do you want from me? And it was like kind of shaky in the beginning. But they've gotten really good at it. And like, I've gotten to know them I've been doing this now for HQ for like 7 years-ish. So I know them really well. And they understand that they have responsibilities to their fans, to their sponsors, that we're really trying to make a legit broadcast out of this because people are legitimately interested. They want to hear from them. They want to hear how tough it was, because they're probably going to go try it in their gym later, you know, and it's much more personable and much more intimate now that we've sort of like established this working relationship and working system of broadcast.
Yeah, it's interesting. Max and I were just talking about how you're like uniquely qualified to be doing exactly this, you know, like being in broadcast, but also really knowing CrossFit. It's good that you're ushering them to the camera.
Yeah, it's gotten easier in that respect. And also because like, I think I try really hard to be, I want to be professional, and, you know, we have the serious broadcast that we're doing. Like it's very real. Like everyone on the back end, especially, are people who have like worked with the NHL and the NBA, and we've got the real trucks and the real producers and directors, and like we're putting on a serious show. But I try to be as normal like as I can be. Yeah, personable and just myself. And I think that some people probably hate that. Some people are probably like, who's this chick? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking
Well,
about.
those people are wrong.
I like to think so too. But like my husband always used to make fun of me when I put on my news reporter voice back when I was an actual news reporter. So I try really hard not to do that, especially on CrossFit broadcasts. I think I have a little more leeway. Oh, you know the voice. You know what I mean? Like if you came to an interview and I'd be like, I'm standing here with so-and-so. Like it's so dumb. And I don't even know why we do it on the news, but like I definitely have watched like Throwback Thursday clips of myself being like, hi, I'm Nicole. Welcome to the 11 o'clock news. Oh God, cringe my belly. Why? Niki, why?
Because you're supposed to. That's what you do.
Right, exactly. And so I try really hard not to, because I think our fans, the people who are watching, want a little bit more of an intimate conversation. Like I think they appreciate that more than just like, and tell me again, what was your Fran time? Like it's just not who I am.
Oh, cool.
But it's also, I think that's who the sport is a little bit. Like it's not one of those we're as old as time, we're baseball.
Right.
We're stiff and sort of not corporate, but like suit and tie kind of sport. Like one of the appeals, I think, of the rise of watching CrossFit or broadcast or whatever is like, oh, this is like I relate to these people more, and this sport also grew up in a time that I can remember. And so I think the people are more apt to accept something like that.
I think you're right. And I think we strike a really nice balance between, or I should say among all of the different personalities that we usually have on these broadcasts, because when you look at someone like Sean Woodland, who was my boss and was the original person who brought me into CrossFit HQ, like, man, he is so good at what he does. And he has a very distinct like voice and personality and way that he approaches the analytics of what's happening on the field. And like, it just meshes well with the people he works with. It meshes well with, you know, the way that Chase is an analyst and the way that Bill is an analyst and the way that he comes to me on the floor and I'm just like a different voice. Like it's very, we all have a little bit of a different personality, but I think there's a decent balance in terms of, hey, like, here's exactly what's happening on the field of play. Here's what I think it means. And like, here's Niki on the floor who is professional enough, but also like, you know, she's there, she's hot and sweaty and they're all on the field. And so like, tell me how you're also hot and sweaty on the field with me right here, right now.
So leading from that, what does Matt Frazier smell like?
Oh, he smells like success.
I knew it.
You know, I like am totally like blind to all of the grossness that happens on the field now, because when I first started, you know, the shots are tight and they like start on the both of us and they like zoom in on the person who we're interviewing. And so I need to be touching them to begin.
She's touched Matt Frazier. Oh my God. constantly sweat on by every single person. And you see how gnarly they are, like after doing something out on the field in the hot sun. Like I am covered in other people's sweat by the end of the day. So gross, so gross. And in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, I have to get so close to this slutty, stinky person. And now I'm just like, how about a hug? Bring it in, bring it in. And I don't even feel it anymore. I don't even notice. So I'm glad that I've gone like nose blind and like touch blind to all that grossness. Well, I also have like kind of a strange question. Like, when you look at them on TV, these documentaries, they look giant, like monsters, right? And you just imagine that they're huge people. And then Matt Fraser was in Blue Mountain State next to like other bodybuilders and stuff, and he looked like a little dude. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are all of them like really huge athletes, just like towering, where it seems like they were built to be something special, CrossFit athletes, or is it more like, I don't know.
They're mostly pretty compact.
Mm.
But they are definitely built looking like something special. Like they're like just like cut. That's like the best word I could use. Like, because most of them are not massive. It's really hard to be super tall and like towering and massive and good at CrossFit, because just like ergonomically, the functional movements we do work better on shorter levers. So like the sweet spot for the male CrossFit athlete is like, 5'7" to 5'10" or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all like so shredded. It's like wild. I try so hard not to look like totally unfit on camera directly next to them. That's like the hardest part of everything, because they're my size, especially the dudes, because I'm 5'7", so they're my size. And I'm like, oh man, like I eat tacos. What did you have for breakfast? Like, but no, they're definitely they're as special and cut looking as you see them on TV. Just like imagine them like 3 or 5 inches shorter. Yeah. The ladies especially, because the ladies are so strong, but you see them in real life and they're very like petite. They're petite and strong as hell.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Not what you expect. I don't know. We had a bodybuilder on, and he this was back before quarantine, and sitting on my couch was just like this massive human, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it's
so
tough.
It's not like
tough
that.
to be that tall. And you can ask there's only a handful of like actual really tall guys, especially, and they have like just so much further to snatch the bar than someone who's like 5'9". So it just makes it tougher.
Although there was that one time where it was like, I don't remember what games it was, but they had to do burpees to a bar, to jump to a bar, and he didn't even have to jump. Now I can't remember who it is.
You just tapped the bar. Who was
right?
it?
Yeah. Pat Vellner, was it? No, I can't remember the guy, but anyway, he didn't even have to jump. He would just stand up and touch the bar. And
yeah, there was a couple years ago. This was maybe 2014 or 2015. I can't remember, but it was the first year that we saw, or the updated pig, the Rogue pig, just a giant refrigerator, a square block that like you had to like flip end over end on the soccer field. And man, did athletes struggle with that, because how do you like, you can't like get the tipping point right. But Spencer Hendel, who is one of the tallest CrossFit Games athletes ever, was just like, doop, 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 like just like flipping, like walking along, no big deal. And I was like, dude, is your pig like empty? Like everyone else's was like 400 pounds, and yours was just like, because he could get under it, get his leg under it, and just like bloop, tip it right over. And everyone else who was smaller couldn't get the lever right. Doesn't happen often, but yeah.
So there was one more thing about being on. Oh, right. So you're like kind of bros with them, and you're familiar on the floor. Is there any like crazy stuff that happens that doesn't make it onto camera?
Yeah. There is. There definitely is.
Go on.
I mean, usually we're live, so it just kind of happens. But last year at Games, this is like one of my favorite stories. I tried so hard to get the footage of this because I would have broken the internet, I'm sure. But like it was like lost in the truck. It was like super sad. So last year at Games, we had this event called the Ruck Run, where everyone strapped on backpacks and like had to do like laps around the stadium, and we're adding weight as they went. And all the men and women went at the same time. They like just like released the Kraken, if you will. And because everyone came all at once. So the winning male athlete came in with a decent start on the ladies. So we pre-taped his interview and then kind of like let him leave because it was super hot out, and then waited for the women and like did the women's interview live, and then his afterwards. And I was like, Lucas, like that was crazy, man. Like you ran so fast. Like how in the world did you do that, basically. I think I formulated it better than that. That was a really shitty question. But I was like, what the hell? How did you run so fast? With all intents and purposes. And he deadpan looked at me and he was like, well, I really had to take a shit. So I had to run really fast. And I was like, but back to you guys. Like, I was like, I don't know what do I do? Lucas has to take a shit. Can we let him off the field and play, please? Like, I didn't know what to do about it. And
So
I'm sure I followed up with a wonderful second question that we cut and used in the actual broadcast. But yeah, sometimes stuff like that will happen, and I'm like, cut, redo it.
I love it. Now I want to know if he was just kidding or that was actually why he did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean,
is he hilarious?
If it was real, it was great motivation.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, so what? June 1st, you said 1, 2, 3. You've had 4 weeks now. Have you been going to?
Yeah,
since the
opening?
opening?
I've been going. I've been a little weird. I don't really know how to handle all things COVID-y, and I think we're all in the same boat. Like, no one really knows what's right and what's wrong. I've been a little bit nervous to like work out with people still inside, like just breathing heavy in the same room still kind of freaks me out. I don't know if I'm overprotective or overly cautious or whatever, but I'm just not quite there yet. But my gym owner built 3 outdoor stations, and they're like beautiful. Squat rack, pull-up rig. He built them himself, like not fancy, like went to Home Depot, got like giant pieces of lumber and just like buzz sawing things.
Cool.
And like, awesome. So I am so thankful to him because he did that for us. He did that for the members. And when you reserve your class in Tribe, you can reserve an indoor station or an outdoor station. So I've been going back since June 1st, but I've been only working out at the outdoor stations because it just makes me feel better a little bit right now. I'm hoping that maybe toward the end of the summer, early fall, that I'll feel better about kind of like heading inside. Because as things reopen around the country, some states are sort of a shit show. Rhode Island is not. We are very cautious about our reopening plan. And so things are still doing really well here. So I'm hoping that if it keeps going like this, I'll feel better about it sooner rather than later.
Cool. I mean, that's good to hear this going well. I don't know. Florida, opened up and then started shutting their bars again. So I'm concerned. We've got gyms opening up now, but it might just like, they'll take that away again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we don't want that to happen. So we're trying to be like really careful.
Right. Well, what were you doing before this? What was your quarantine workout?
Well, so lucky for me, because I coach at the gym, so I have a key.
Ooh,
so I know. So we've been lucky. We had been going, my husband and I had been going to the gym still. I mean, we were alone. so it wasn't cool. Still not
That's
exciting.
Even better.
Well, is it? Because you end up missing people. But for everyone who was like really stuck at home and really like tearing their hair out, going crazy, like at least we left the house every day. Was that you?
I was stuck at home quite a bit. Spags gave me a pull-up bar, which was really nice. One of the doorway ones. But I felt like I was going to rip my doorway off.
I mean, Max, you're so big.
I'm just hanging on the thing like, here it goes. So I would do these like gentle as dainty little pull-up, slow as you like. Like, and every time I heard a creak in the doorway, I was like, this is it. I'm just ripping the doorway off.
This is it. Mark the time.
Yeah. And then it's been a nightmare. I've been doing like online, for lack of a better word. And I only say this because it is true 100% of the time. Hot girl HIIT workout videos. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll do that.
Why not?
And then I get my ass handed to me, obviously.
Every time.
But yeah, it's been a little trying. There's only so many, I don't know, step in my living room lunges you can do.
I know. There's only so many burpees and air squats that, I understand. We have been very lucky in that respect. And truthfully, because I am working from home for the first time ever, because I work in advertising at an agency, but we've been going into work always before this. Mm-hmm. We had always wanted work from home, but here we are.
Proof you can do it.
So yeah, I know, right now we can. But so since I had been working from home, I'd actually been able to train even more in quarantine. Like I was rocking double sessions, going on runs in the morning, weightlifting in the evening, but I had been baking so much bread.
Stereotype.
Yeah. There was no shred that happened, put it that way. But it's been fun. It's back to normal now, and my husband made me promise to bake less, but we're pretty much there again.
All right. Well, we only have one question that we ask every person that comes
Okay.
on. And it's very important. What are your thoughts on drinking and being a workout person?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm one of those people that like works out to look semi-okay naked and still eat and drink the things I want. You know what I mean? Like, and like health and my life, and like someday I'll be able to like pick my kids up and shit. But like for the most part, it's not for people who have really significant goals, really intense workout goals or physique goals or whatever, like, and I understand that they have to be very strict about their diets. I fully respect that. I fucking love cocktails. Like, oh my God, it's so much fun. It's just fun. And I'm at a point in my life where I can, and I'm sure there'll someday be a 9-month point in time in my life where I can't. So I sure I'm going to do it now. What is that like? Why do you guys ask everyone that? Like, what is it for you guys to gather that data?
Well, it sort of started because that's how we feel. We like to drink a lot and then lift heavy and then work out and sort of balance it out. But every time we would talk to a fitness person or we would encounter some sort of fitness program or whatever, they'd be like, you have to stay so shredded. You quit alcohol 100%. You know, you got to be sleeping 11 hours a night and you got to be eating broccoli and kale and that's it. You know what I mean? And we were like, is that real? Like, that doesn't seem like possible or fun in the long run.
I mean, if you're going to do a figure competition, like absolutely those rules apply, you know? And if you've got your wedding coming up and you want to look real good, like sure, commit to that for 2 months, 3 months. Like there's no problem with diving really deep into a strict session if it meets your goals and it doesn't drive you absolutely nuts. Like sure, go for it. We do like a dry January. We try to do it every year just to reset because we like go way overboard during the holidays. Yeah. Like eggnog for breakfast was definitely a thing for me this past year. Like spiked eggnog for breakfast. And you know what though, even in my experience, like with the CrossFit Games athletes that I work with and I'm friends with, like they're so strict for so long. But like Games after party, like everyone gets lit because they can't, because like they have been so long. They've been like training and waiting for this one thing and, you know, watching their carbs and their everything intake. And then they're like, oh, finally, like, yes, please give me a vodka Fit-Aid, please. And it's great. It's great. And they live their lives for 48 hours and then they go right back to training. So even the best of them sometimes have a drink or two.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to. No, this sounds super preachy. We're like preaching the spread of getting fucked up or whatever.
Yeah, why not?
But that was it. It's like serious fitness people were like, there's only one way to do it. So that's what we're sort of.
But not just in alcohol, right? Like the point of what we're going for is to debunk a lot of myths. It just seems that the one we always land on at the end is the alcohol one. But you know, with you, we're debunking the myths about should you just be training a bicep or should you functionally your whole body, right? So it's just
totally. So follow up, what is your favorite cocktail? What did you do on your 21st birthday?
Okay. Well, on my 21st birthday I drank beer because like I don't know what I was doing, but okay, so I have horrible. I know I have 2 answers. So can I have 2? Is that okay?
You can have as many
I'll
as your BAC allows.
Thanks. So my favorite like brunch cocktail, and I say this because I actually have it like at any point in time during the day or night, but I love
pre or post workout.
What?
Have you worked out before this brunch or after?
Well, whatever.
Okay, right.
It doesn't matter. But I can't say no to bubbles like Prosecco, champagne, whatever. Cava is my favorite. So I love a mimosa with a shot of whipped cream vodka in it.
Oh.
Try it. Just try it.
The girl likes sweet. Wow.
Write it down. Yep. You got to get like the real shitty Pinnacle whipped vodka. It's the best
familiar,
one.
yeah.
It's the best one. So that is like my favorite. Like we can make it at any time at home cocktail. But my favorite, like special fancy, we got to go get ingredients for this shit, is a chocolate peanut butter cup martini. Let me tell you the backstory. Have you guys ever been to the Sugar Factory?
No.
No, okay. It's a chain, but there's only there's one in Vegas and one in LA and whatever. We found it on our honeymoon. On our honeymoon, we went to Hawaii, but we stopped in Vegas for a couple nights on the way back because why not? Yeah. And we found it wandering around Vegas at 4:00 in the morning, and I was like, "What's this place? Sounds amazing." And they had one there, and it was everything that you think, chocolate, peanut butter, whatever. They put peanut butter on the rim of this martini glass. I'm in love ever since then. That was 6 years ago. 6 years ago tomorrow. It's my wedding anniversary.
Oh,
thank you. So ever since then, for every special occasion, we'll go to the Sugar Factory. For my birthday, after I ran the New York City Marathon, we went and had a cocktail at the Sugar Factory in New York City. It's just it's my favorite thing. Mm-hmm. And then my husband has taken to finding a way to make them for me at home. And the latest way, which we had these last weekend, he soaked Reese's Pieces candies in vodka overnight and strain them and mix them with Godiva chocolate liqueur and milk.
What?
Whoa.
Next level.
Oh my God, so good. Put peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
We should have talked about, I can talk about cocktails all day long. Why do we even talk about CrossFit?
We're changing. We're
episode 2 or
right.
Get you back. Yeah.
Part 2.
Well, cool. I love that you also casually ran the New York City Marathon too.
One time. It was one.
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing I've ever done, but I'm never doing that shit again.
I feel that one's enough.
Yep. Very, very cool. Loved it. Loved everything about it. Almost like a religious experience. And then
I loved especially being done with it.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. No one f***ing tells you that when you're done, you have to walk 2 more miles just to get out of Central Park. Yeah.
Ooh.
No one mentions that.
Cool down.
Uh-huh. My cool down should have been in a wagon or a wheelchair.
Yeah. A wheelbarrow.
It's shuffling along for 40 minutes, oh my God. I can't.
Wow.
This is before you didn't know how to handstand walk at that point?
I still don't know how to handstand walk. Isn't that embarrassing? Don't ask me how long I've been CrossFitting. I am very uncomfortable upside down, you guys. Very uncomfortable.
You had a whole empty gym to practice in quarantine. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. It's I look at it and I'm like, oh, all the time that I practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us. This was awesome.
Yeah, this is so fun. Anytime.
And where can the Fitheads find you?
So I am Reporter Nicole on Instagram, and we have Make Pods Great Again as a podcast with John and I, and yeah, those places.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Of course, anytime.
And thank you to the Fitheads. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and actually give us a rating and review. We have yet to ask for this. Please do that because I think it makes a difference, right? From another podcaster.
I think so too. I was actually just thinking today that I should start saying that as well, because I think it helps the ranking and it helps other people maybe find you if you're interested in health and fitness things. So yeah, subscribe and rate and review and just talk about how great this episode was. And if you had a chocolate peanut butter cup martini, let us know.
And email Eric that he needs to go on their podcast.
Yes. Oh my God. 1,500 more emails.
And they're all the same subject. All right. Thanks. We'll see you next week.